So my number three is a little movie called The Mummy from 1999, directed by Stephen Sommers, starring our very own Brendan Fraser, who's having a comeback of sorts.
He's got a big
Rachel
moment.
Weisz,
Yeah.
yeah. Quick log line: at an archaeological dig in the ancient city of Hamunapatra, an American serving in the French Foreign Legion accidentally awakens a mummy who begins to wreak havoc as he searches for the reincarnation of his long lost love. So I put this movie on my list because this movie to me is a little bit of what I just hinted at the beginning, captures the mystery and the magic of adventure.
Hmm.
And I don't know, this is sort of how I grew up, I suppose, where Egypt, and even till this day, is very mysterious and magical to me. There's something
Hmm.
about the place, and as an adult I've actually been to Egypt and I've visited the pyramids, and
Oh,
it
whoa.
totally lived up
Oh,
to
cool.
my
Yeah, I've never been. I've
expectation.
always wanted to
Yeah,
go. So
it
that's
was
that's good that
amazing.
there's still mystery there and adventure, even though you've been. That's saying a lot about Egypt.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I think so, because it's
Nice.
just their practices and how advanced they were, but also how brutal, and all the complications that come with it. But there's something very magical about that, and so I think this movie captures that. It also came at a point in my life and our lives when we were what, teenagers. So I
Hmm.
think this is a bit of a time capsule movie for me in that sense, especially
Hmm.
since I had not seen the Indiana Jones movies until
Oh,
much later in life.
interesting.
This movie,
Oh,
often called, the poor man's Indiana Jones,
right,
this
right.
is all I had.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh,
I ate it up as a kid.
yeah.
What about you? Had you watched this growing up?
Yeah, I did see it when it came out, and we talk a lot about like movies at that time, and I was a
Right.
teenager, and I think if this movie had come out maybe 2 years earlier, I would have like been all into it, but I was in this phase where I was looking down upon this type of movie and thought I was too good for it. And like,
Oh,
this is dumb. Like, I like, all these more, adult kind of movies. And I remember thinking it was dumb. Like, I saw it, I was like, why is this so popular? This is stupid. I'm not really into that. And then I watched it again in college, I think. And I understood at least the second time I saw it of like why it was successful because it's a huge hit.
huge
Um,
hit.
and I hadn't seen it since then. And I, watched it for this podcast, and I totally got it. And I'm just, maybe I have more sense of adventure now to think outside of my own box of, the type of, films that I might be liking now than at the time. But I really enjoyed it, seeing it again. Like it was super fun. It was actually totally funny. I was going on a walk with my dog like the day after I saw this movie, and there was this guy and his girlfriend or wife or whatever walking their dog, and he
Mm.
had the sweatshirt on. There was a picture of Brendan Fraser and Vice from this film, and
Wow.
on it said, "The Mummy is the perfect movie." Just so
By the
random
way,
and weird, but
only in LA. This would not happen anywhere else in the entire
maybe,
world.
yeah. But
Probably not.
I was like, oh, if I'd seen that shirt when I saw this film first, I would have been like, this guy sucks. But now I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah, no, I thought it was really
That's
fun. It was a
hilarious.
really, really fun film, and I think because I had seen Indiana Jones and grew up on those films, maybe at the time I was thought it was too
Yeah.
like a poor man's version, and now I can
Yeah.
kind of look beyond that and see the magic and the fun that this film has, which it's great. I really enjoyed the rewatch.
Yeah, it is really fun. It sort of has a little bit of a video game kind of thing to it, right? Like you never know what's going to come at you, the little beetles or the
Yeah,
crickets or this or that or
yeah.
that. So I think it keeps you guessing, it keeps you on your toes. But also, I think it sort of explores the reason behind why people get into adventure and such. And I
Hmm.
think even though it's done in a very archetypical sort of way, but you're in it for the adventure or the passion or the greed or just the obsessive nature of it. And as I watched it over time, I think that really stands out. Like every
Hmm.
person represents something. I also think, to me, this is personal from the point of view of just taking trips with people that you don't know very well. Like at business
Hmm.
school, we had a bunch of these trips, and I think this movie has a great, though archetypical, way of representing this random collection of people who've just come together. There's the one who's very well prepared, the other one
Yeah.
who's troubled, the other one who's going to get you out of trouble, the other one who's just lazy and annoying. And so you have the entire cast of characters. So it's kind of a fun ride in that sense too. Something I associate a lot with adventure is, who are you with,
Hmm.
and then the other part, of course, is where are you? And like we said earlier, like it's something very magical and mysterious about Egypt. And I don't know, watching this movie this time, the thing that stood out to me the most is actually Rachel Weisz. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, she just looks so beautiful and
Yeah.
so amazing. But I mean, she is obviously cut above as an actor as opposed to anybody else in the movie. And maybe this
Fraser
is
did a good job, but I'll see your
sure.
point. Yeah, he did a good
Yeah,
job.
yeah. I'm okay on him in
Okay, okay,
general.
okay, okay.
But yeah, but this one with Rachel Weisz, I don't know, there's something, or maybe I just personally relate to that approach of adventure, which is from a place of passion and wanting to really learn about the history and really
Mm-hmm.
want having a little bit of, I don't know, curiosity, but also from a place of respect. And because for me, when I'm traveling, it's very important to engage with the local people as much as I can, and
Right.
understand how people live and what do they believe in, what makes them laugh or cry. And I feel like she has that kind of wide-eyed wonder
Mm-hmm.
on her face. So I don't know. I really connected with that. That said, though, the movie is also quite silly. Like the effects don't hold up anymore. It's too video gamey to my earlier point. It's too plot twisty. At some point, you sort of lose interest. And so, this is not a masterpiece. This is not Indiana Jones as established before, but it's a good fun time. I think this is a good blockbuster fun movie that has a little bit on its mind as opposed to not.
I agree. Yeah, again, I really enjoyed this rewatch coming at it from a fresher perspective than like my sort of closed-minded, annoying teenage self. And yeah, I thought the thing that actually surprised me the most was just how good like the script was and like the witty dialogue really worked.
Yeah,
And maybe
great
this is
dialogue.
also Fraser and White's just selling it. But some of these movies, like the snappy dialogue just comes across as overly written and dumb and like
Right.
kind of cringy. I was like laughing at a lot of it. I was like, oh, this is like a
Yeah.
sense of fun in their dialogue that I thought was just really well written. Like Stephen Sommers, I guess, did a really good job capturing this type of adventure film. And I also enjoyed like the iconography, especially at the end when it kind of turned into like a Roy Harryhausen, like Jason
Mm-hmm.
the Argonauts when he's fighting all those skeletons. Yeah, they're CG instead of stop motion, but it's a good kind of like homage to that. When she's kind of like strapped there to the slab at the end, and Brendan Fraser's like fighting off all the skeleton creatures. I just thought I was like, oh, this is really fun, and he's
It's
capturing
really
that.
fun.
That sense of fun from adventure movies of old, and it's a good homage, but still fun in the to up leveled in terms of effects to 99. So yeah, I like The Mummy. I mean, I'm not gonna buy maybe that guy's sweatshirt, say The Mummy's a perfect movie, but at least I'm not gonna like, frown at him if I see him again in the neighborhood. I'm just so
I'll
random.
admit
I
it.
literally was almost gonna tell him, like, I literally just watched this movie like a day before.
Should have.
This is so weird. And I could have plugged the podcast again, so that's shame on me.
You totally should have. Exactly.
That
It's
was
like,
bad.
guess what?
Yeah, guess what? You in a couple weeks, like you can listen to this episode here of a podcast. So that's bad. That's bad on me.
Should have done that.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to add here, which I have brought this up many, many times on the podcast, which is that they are in actual locations, and that matters.
Yes. Yes.
Even though there is CGI of all the
Mm-hmm.
skeletons and what have you, but the sense of place is pretty real, and you
Totally.
feel that. And after the movie was over, I was watching where all they shot, and they are in the Middle East and all sorts of places. And you do, I think, a transportive quality to an adventure film, I think, is very, very important, because the
Totally.
place is such an important critical part of why you are doing this in the first place. So
Mm-hmm.
kudos to them for doing that. If this movie were made today, it would be probably on some green screen
Right.
soundstage,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't look as good.
Totally.
Please see the Poirot movies by Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, I have not yet, but even from the trailers, I can guess exactly what you're saying. It all looks
Horrible.
like it's shot on a soundstage in Atlanta because it probably was.
Yep.
Hey there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I cover a topic around important people, places, events, and moments in our lives, and then explore it through 3 of our favorite movies. Subscribe right now, or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.